My name is Nur Fatihah binti Muhammad Fatuzi, and our group has chosen to do the textual translation analysis of the poem Padamu Jua by Amir Hamzah. So, for the introduction, this poem has done about translation and focus on the poetic translation. So, as we all know, translation is rendering a source language text into target language, while poetic translation needs a denser translation process, as a translator needs to go deeper and understand the implied meaning of the poem before translating it into other language. So for this project, the methodology is textual analysis, where the source text and translated text of the poem has been gathered together, and we compare it and we analyze the translation procedures that has been done by the translator. Okay, so for the translation procedure, we have chosen the translation procedure by Walensky and also Binet and Darvelnet, which categorize it into two categories: direct translation and also oblique translation. So for this project, this will be our framework to do our analysis on the translation procedures. Okay. So the background of the poem. So this poem was written by Amir Hamzah, and he is a significant with religious themed work, and mainly from Islamic perspective. So as for the poem Padamu Jua, it also focuses on the religious theme on the Islamic perspective, and it focuses on the love and the distance between a human and its creator. So next, so the first part of the poem describes how he was how his love with human has gone, and he finally turned his love into his creator, his God. And then the next stanzas describe his feelings, including jealousy, anger, and the loneliness. And he also mentioned about how he feels so lonely when he loves someone but he cannot see it, or he doesn't know where the person, or in this case, where God is. Okay, that's all for me for the introduction.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nur Hidayah, and I will be proceeding with the translation procedures. Okay, so as you can see, these are the procedures that we had choose based on the original poem, based on the translated poem. Okay, next. Okay, so the first procedure is the literal translation, or known as word-for-word translation. As you can see, in the source text seperti dahulu, it is being translated to as before. The translator in the target language had used literal translation because he had translated each word into English. Next, the second procedure is the modulation. Modulation occurs when one wishes to change the point of view without changing the meaning in the message. Okay, as you can see in the example in the source text, engkau pelik menari ini, from my understanding, it is trying to convey with the message that that person is being unique and beautiful, and that person it is able to attract someone's attention. However, in the target text, you are a beautiful jewel, it also convey the message that you are being beautiful and you are being unique. So these two conveys the same message. However, it can be seen the changes in the point of view in these two examples. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amratila binti Azhar. So I will continue with the procedures of the translation that we have chosen. So the next one is calc. Calc is divided into two types of calc, which is lexical calc and structural calc. In this translation text, we found that the translator used lexical calc. Lexical calc is a calc which respects the syntactic structure of the target language while introduce a new mode of expression. For example, pulang kembali aku padamu. So the word pulang kembali is translated to return. Yes. The next one is transposition. Transposition is when you replace the word from one grammatical word class with another without changing the meaning of the message. For example, the translator translate sabar setia selalu to faithfully, always, passionately. So we can see the sabar setia is adjective, but the translator changed the word class to adverb as faithfully and patiently. The next procedure is equivalence. Equivalence is replacing one word or unit of translation with another that is present in the target language that gives a similar meaning in the source language. So there are two types of equivalent, which is functional equivalent and descriptive equivalent. The functional equivalent example is hanya kata merangkai hati is translated to words shaping my heart. The word merangkai is not available in English, so the similar word that is function the same as merangkai is shaping. Next example is descriptive equivalent. Suara sayup is translated to only a barely audible voice. The word sayup is also not present in English, so the translator described the word sayup into a barely audible voice. So I will pass the presentation to another presenter.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Muazzahim. As for my part, I will be reviewing some lines in the poem Padamu Jua by Amir Hamzah. So generally, there were some translation that was translated correctly, but there was some translation that doesn't really have a correlation or equivalence between the source language and the target language. Okay, like for the first one, Satu Kasihku was translated to English using literal translation to You Are One. The right translation would be You Are the Only One or You Are My Only One, to emphasize on the oneness of the God in the source language. The next one is Serupa dara di balik tirai, translated to a maid hiding behind a curtain, was translated using a literal translation. However, there was some semantic mistake in this translation, in which dara in English is maiden. However, the author incorrectly translated the translation into maid, which means a helper in English. So there is a slight mistake in terms of semantics in the language that makes the meaning completely different from the source language to the target language. However, there were some translation that was translated perfectly, in which both the message can be conveyed across both languages. For example, habis kikis was simply translated to lost perch, so which is suitable for the context. The next one was pulang kembali aku kepada, which was translated using lexical calc methods to I return to you. So it is a very suitable and a correct translation method. And also the next one was kasihmu sunyi, was translated using modulation to yours is a solitary love. It changed the structure and the concept of the source language. However, the meaning and the message that was trying to convey was still the same. So it was a good translation. Okay. All in all, to conclude, the author managed to implement many methods in translating the poem Padamu Jua by Amir Hamzah, such as modulation, literal translation, transposition, and many more. However, the translated version did not sound as authentic and as original as the real one. As a result, the underlying meaning of the poem were not able to be conveyed fully. Just like stated earlier, normal translation is quite harder than poetic translation. So the author need to make more research when translating, and should not only rely on literal translation most of the time. As we can see previously, most of the translation techniques used by the author was literal translation. It was a good technique in which the source language was directly translated. However, in poem, some words are not really not suitable to be directly translated, as it need to have more deeper meaning. The author need to go beyond the meaning, so that the full message and the equivalence of the translation would be achieved. So to conclude, this translation can be said as moderate, in which the translator managed to translate the poem in general. However, there were some parts of the line in the stanzas that does not really correlate with the original text, and does not really have equivalence with the original text. That's all from me. Thank you.